Hello and welcome to Babylon Game Starter, where we have reached the official release of version 1.0. And that is saying something. This was no super simple undertaking. It took some time and some refinement based upon input from some wonderful people, including some students, colleagues, and a couple just random people on the internet who gave some exceptionally good feedback. So I appreciate everybody's feedback, and here we are. Let's go ahead and look at this. What is it exactly? Well, the Babylon Game Starter is a project. I call it a framework, and it gives us the ability to go ahead and quickly prototype 3D games that are physics based. Currently, that's the focus, using the Babylon 9 engine. Now, this can be extended in the future. I had to start somewhere, so I focused on 3D physics-based games with third-person kind of camera as the initial kind of goal in mind to get this to ship at least to 1.0. And yeah, like I said, let's build a community around this and get out there and make other things possible as well. But I think you'll find it very promising in that regard. So I'm going to go over here and dig into it a little bit further. So if we look down here in the project, you can see that it's set up to run, as I mentioned, with Babylon JS 9 engine, as well as being set up with Vite, and it's also set up to be able to deploy it in a production environment. So you can go commercial with this. This is also accessible to educators who have students on, let's say, iPads or Chromebooks or, I don't know, some type of Android tablet. You could literally just do this on a tablet. You don't have to be on some fancy smancy machine. So let's go ahead and say that we started to deploy without going into the mechanics of it. Say we deployed to render. Here I am in a project on render.com, and let's just say that I go over, open that up, and get a little flash screen there. It's, like I said, this is a framework and it's fully brandable. You can put your own branding everywhere. This is just getting it out the door. And here we have this character in this example. Let's go ahead and take this character somewhere else. Let's go ahead and put this character in this other environment. And let's see what's going on over here. So, and this is running on a free render instance. So let's go ahead and call that out as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add another one of these tabs here and go ahead and put that right here. And let's go ahead and join. Oh, yes, this is interesting. I think it is, at least, that you will be able to join in a multiplayer kind of environment right off the bat. So there you are. So as you can see right there, there's the other player. And let's make this a little bit more interesting. Let me maybe pull this over here. And let's perhaps open this in a split view so we can maybe perhaps see. And maybe I turn this character around here to see the other one, or even back up a little bit. And let me do a couple actions that are a little easier to kind of gather the grip of what's going on here. Let's just say I'm going over here. There's this like present thing in front of me. I collected that present. And let me go ahead and display my own inabilities to do the jump mechanics, but there I am, finally got around to that. And let's just say I pushing this around. There we have a illustration there of some of the syncing when it comes to physics and so forth. Okay, so we have this system and it is multiplayer. Let's just say that I take this character right here and head off to, I don't know, let me just say, let's go to Flat City. It's going to give me a little video interlude. So this system also has a very clear. Now, once I'm over there, you can see that I disappeared from that other level, and some of the transitions could be cleaned up for sure. Definitely have a lot of cleanup and polish to add, but let's just take a look at what's going on here. Here we are in another environment, and let's just say that this could be another level or whatever. It's just getting us out the door. I'm not trying to make a complete game here in the V1. I was thinking about that at first, and I was like, that's just going to kick the can down the road a lot farther. So I'm going to go over here into that same other scene, and there's something I could have done. I could actually had my video kind of the resolution changed on that video so that or I should say the aspect ratio, so that it actually obeyed whatever the screen, however it was set up. But I didn't do that yet, so okay. But here we are in this other environment, and let's just say let me have this character here turn around and maybe jump off over here. Again, there's sound effects and so forth. I just don't want to have to contend with those, so I turned the sound off. There's some really nice sound effects, just a little bit overkill for this particular video, so I'm just going to keep those off there. Let's go ahead and get this character going and dragging the screen around as I didn't intend. Okay, and then I guess I can illustrate. Okay, you can see character there. Noticing got myself set up right there, and noticing I had some syncing issues in the past, and I still have some syncing that's going to get cleaned up a little bit, but that's kind of like the basic gist of it. Let me go ahead to another tab, which is the playground, which this tab, let me close these out actually, and I'll go to the playground. So the playground is where a lot of people do their testing and exploring ideas. Other people come up with things in the community and they share it. Well, it's also a great place for people to learn, or just to simply use the editor facility of it if they do not have access to anything but, let's just say, an iPad or some Android tablet. Okay, so, and if that's the case, or Chromebook or something, let's go ahead and try to load a playground. Now, I didn't mention this yet, and this will time out because there's a lot of TypeScript involved. So we'll expect this to time out, but the second time it will have enough cache to go ahead and push through. So we'll just wait for the timeout here. But what's happening here is the framework, there we go, we got the timeout, but it will work this time if I do it again, because it has the cache in there. What we have here is essentially the ability in the framework to export a playground file. So if you're working on something, and I can see I got that little bit of a rendering issue right there. So let me just save that right there as it is. And then let me go ahead and fire that up. Again, let me get that. There's a rendering issue I know of right there because I'm actually freezing a material, and given that that is the avatar, that material got frozen before it got applied to all the meshes. But there we have that, and so much the same as you saw deployed to render, but in this case we have also the ability to have some extra tools here, so we can go full screen, and we can go ahead and eliminate the Babylon Playground UI if we want to. We can go ahead and expose the inspector as you could normally anyway, but that's just a nice plus, especially if you are on like an iPad or something. If we go ahead and take it out of full screen, we can see over here the code base for this, and we go over here to File Explorer, and there's roughly 50 files, and so it's a significant code base. Not too out of hand, but there's a good bit involved. And essentially, you can go and even default out of the code base, and I didn't even point this out yet, but let me go ahead. So here I am in the playground, and maybe I just go over here and copy the playground, and I can essentially have another playground live right here. So I'm gonna get another playground up. So it's loading the playground in another tab right now. And here we are. Now I'm in another tab with the playground, and look at that. And dare I do this? Okay, let me go over here and do split with the current tab. It's a little, so we can see right now that there I am. Okay, there is my character, and I am right there, multiplayer with the other character, and yeah, it just works. And we're gonna look a little bit here at the kind of declarative, configurative mindset that kind of rules as a leading or guiding or fundamental principle in this whole thing. Let me go ahead and show this here for a second. First, I'll switch out the characters here, obviously, as I illustrated before, but let's just say that we also wanted to, what did I did not illustrate over here. Okay, in the playground I didn't illustrate like changing the environment, so let me maybe change this environment. So here I am in another environment with this environment here. Maybe I'll have this character go to that environment. Maybe I'll this corner here, and then I'll get this character to go over there, and let's go ahead and see there we go. All right, yeah. Here we have, right, things, and I realize I gotta fix something with the particle systems here for the characters when I sync those. So notes to myself, okay, but this is the basic idea. I'm gonna go now back and look at the kind of modular system here. So if we look in the assets, TS I think is a good way to look at the modular as well as the configuration driven system. So if we look at here, all of the imports are very semantically modularized. So if you see behavioral configuration, the character kind of file or module import, we've got these different types that are coming in. So I believe in terms of parsability for the folks new to this system, you will find it quite easy to move through and make sense out of. These are the different characters, right? This is like a tech girl character right there. So if I would switch over here to the tech girl, we've got that tech girl character right there. And if we go down here, this is Lafufu. You saw Lafufu. Here's the zombie character, right? If we go over here, there's the zombie. Right, and just put your own characters in here. There's some default kind of expected animations, but only like 3 expected animations, and then you can have custom animations as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then when it gets down into the environment section, you have you can define physics objects in an actual design environment, like in Blender, you could define those. And this was really going out to the example that was so well put together and kind of getting me off on this journey, actually, which is wonderful. I think that if it wasn't for Cedric, I may have never even gone this route. So really shout out to Cedric from the Babylon community for inspiring this with his physics character controller. so much love and appreciation for him and whatever motivated the whole process, because that's a big part. So I just kept this in there. So this level test environment is an ode to that demo, that first demo that was there. So this is, as many people in the community would see, this is something I believe is quite familiar. Yeah, so we have like different things, like you can apply like outline effects, and there's a lot of other things. I'm looking at proximity effects, so if I get closer to that or get farther away. In this case, this is using the kind of, if I'm not close to it, it's going to do something, right? And then over here, if it's close to it, and so we're changing kind of like that outline pattern. Something, there's collectibles, obviously. Certain collectibles like this one are also going to inventory items. So yeah, if I click on that, you can see how I have this invisibility effect. Anyway, that's just the way I was doing it and so forth, and that's like a timed out effect that will kind of time out, as you can see there. But a lot of this is really just configuration based at first, so you can get your head around like all the moving parts of the system. You can quickly say, okay, I want this to be part of the system, and that will be some wonderful community feedback. You don't even have to get into the maybe nuts and bolts of the implementations of the modules or anything, but simply getting involved as and I should not say simply, getting involved at any level is greatly appreciated, and I will just jump up and down for joy with the kind of feedback. And that said, I'm just going to go back to the project over here, and yeah, Babylon Game Starter is here. Pretty interesting stuff, I think, right? You can deploy it out to, as I pointed out there, you can deploy it out here into the world of, in this case, well, currently only for like a full like back-end system. Oh, I didn't mention that. The back-end system, you will need to have that at render.com currently, unless somebody else wants to rig up another deployment target for kind of, back-ends that need some dynamic servers to them. But that does remind me that the multiplayer server that I currently have is written, and this is set up to actually dynamically pull in the kind of code that you write for your endpoints. So if you are interested in this, and I'm getting too much of this noise right now of the music that I put in, but let me just jump over to another environment so I don't have to hear that. Over there we go. Okay. So what I was saying here is that the back end, you can add whatever endpoints you want, and it will automatically bring in the dependencies it needs. So you could write endpoints in Go. That's what I wrote the multiplayer endpoint in. You can see I actually wrote it in Go. You can write it in Rust, or write it in Go, or write it in Python, or write it in Node.js, JavaScript, TypeScript backend. It really is interesting because I used a kind of multi-stage deployment Docker pattern for the way that everything, like the infrastructure as code system, kind of rolls out, without getting too much into that. But yeah, that's something I didn't mention. You can have all kind of back-end services hooked up with this and so forth as well. But thank you. If you made it this far in the video, reach out. Let me know what you think, because I am really stoked. I am so happy to have at least gotten this far with the project, and connecting with people is the most important thing. So please reach out, and I wish you a wonderful, wonderful day.